I want to talk to you today about intention. What does intention mean? This is to aim or to plan. And when you do not aim or plan something with precision, written down, excuse my Spanish accent. If you don't write things down with intention and you say, I want to do, for me, let's just use me. I want a 6-pack abs. I want a lean body. And not just for looks, but because I know that's what's going to boost my confidence and bring me up to the level that I want to be at. Not because society says I should be that way. Not because I'm looking through Instagram and saying, wow, I really want to look that way. Although there is some truth to it, but I know that I am planning and I am preparing to put my body to result to that. And I'm not leaving it up to chance. And I'm not saying today, tomorrow, this week, I'm doing it. And next week, because I'm sick, I'm just going to go grab some Chick-fil-A because I don't feel like cooking. And because my kids kept me up. And because I was up late doing homework. And because I was at work for 14 hours yesterday. And it took all of my time. No. Intention. Be very intentional this 2023. This is my motto. As I'm speaking it to you, I'm speaking it to myself. Be very intentional for 2023. 2022, I managed to do a lot. And I'm not going to say, hey, I could have done better, although I could have. But looking back in hindsight, I did so many things. I managed to create a habit of getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning to work out right away. Meditate for 10 minutes, do some personal development, get ready for work, and to be at work 5 or 6 in the morning. I managed to do that. But once November came, the holidays came, I went through a separation, I had to move, I came back to my mother's house, my kids transitioned, I transitioned, I got COVID, I got sick. All of these things happened, and I fought and I tried my best to stay consistent to my schedule. And some may say, no, fight through it. It doesn't matter. But others may say, have some grace and allow yourself to feel the emotions because it's a lot being thrown your way. It's a lot of things that your mind is going through, your emotions are going through, your family is going through. Give yourself some grace to feel those things because you don't want to bury it so deep and not deal with those issues. But at the same time, you don't want to use that as an excuse as to why you let your dreams and goals go down the garbage, as to why, because you know what that feels like. You've done it. If you're in your 20s and 30s, I'm going to say if you're in your 30s and 40s, you know exactly what it feels like to plan and prepare for something and be so good for about 2 weeks and then let it go because something happened. And that's the trick right there. Fighting through the process no matter what is being thrown your way. I never stopped journaling. I never stopped looking. I have my vision board. I always still continue to meditate. Still try to keep the bits and pieces of my routine that allowed me to flourish into the woman that I became in 2022. And to be able to deal with the issues that life was throwing my way. Still keeping faith. Still keeping those pieces that make you you. Until things calm down a little bit and you're able to really jump back. So I had a small space in my last apartment where it was set up as a creative space, essentially. I would work out there. I would have my meetings there, my vision board. Like, it was like the dream room. And that's a luxury to have. I mean, I'm from the tri-state area in New Jersey. And a lot of us don't have the luxury. I can't say a lot of us, but I know like a lot of people that I'm really, really close to, people that I grew up with, don't have the luxury to have like a creative space, So I found that I was very blessed to have that space, but I knew it wasn't going to be forever. So now moving back to my mother's house, and now I really don't have the space. In Jersey, we have, and this may be in a lot of areas too, I'm not sure, but she lives in an apartment that has a a living room, dining room, and then you have the kitchen and 2 bedrooms, right? And we had to sacrifice, and I had to sacrifice my space and her space. So I had to close off the living room area, and that's my room, and I put like a curtain to separate and divide and stuff like that. But that is essentially a sacrifice that she's making to have us there, and it's me and my 2 kids, and then a sacrifice I'm making because now it's like, you know, I don't have my privacy, I don't have this, I don't have that, but it's all for the greater good because I have intention. The intention for me being here is to be able to save money to buy an income property. The intention for me being here is to be able to pay some debt that I accumulated over the years. The intention is to sacrifice to put myself in a better position. And it's written, my dreams and goals, my plans, and everything is beautifully laid out. And I'm not saying that I don't have room to pivot, because you have to have the space to pivot. Sometimes you have to think of worst case scenario so you can prepare. I just heard Eric Thomas at the gym, and he mentioned that when warriors go to war, I don't know if the term is right, I'm sorry, but when you go to the army, the first thing that they teach you is how to load a gun and how to carry a dead body. I don't know if it's load a gun, but something with a gun and how to carry a dead body. And it's like, you would think, wow, that's the first thing you teach me? Yes, because that's worst case scenario. And it's like, that is so true. When we think about our lives, guys, we need to think of worst case scenario. And let's even tap into meditation a little bit and manifestation. Because there's a balance between thinking of worst case scenario and also thinking and attracting negative things because you think that that's gonna happen. I feel like there's a very fine balance, and that's where you need to like be open-minded and really truly understand what this means. Manifest your dreams and goals. Put work behind your dreams and goals, and always speak positively. The words I am are so powerful. I recommend you guys listen to Wishes Fulfilled or The Moses Code by Wayne Dyer. And so that way you could really understand how powerful the words I am are, and how loosely we just throw any word into after I am. I am this, I am that, I'm that, I'm that. And it's just unconsciously. And we don't realize why our life is the way it is. Why we feel like so many negative things come our way. Why we feel like we just can't catch a break. And it's not a magic wand, but faith without work is dead. And if you believe that I am worthy, if you believe that I am powerful, if you believe that I am going to be wealthy, that I am breaking generational curses, that I am a leader, that I am a thought leader, that I think positively, and I attract love, I attract genuinity. You know, if you truly don't believe these things, then you have to start. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that today you're just going to say, I am, and you're going to believe. It's something it's an exercise that I actually did with my son, because he's a work, he's work in progress. And I just realized that being a teen mother, I was dedicating a lot of my time into survival, and he's becoming a product of that survival, because he's already speaking in a negative tone about himself, about his life. And it's like, no. And that's the problem that's the disadvantage that us minorities have, that our ancestors, our people, or just where we're born into, we're raised in an environment that is more so survival physically and survival mentally. We're just trying to survive. So we don't have I'm not going to say all of us, but a lot of us don't have the mental space to even think about manifesting and planning, and and I'm not saying everyone, I'm just saying like that's a lot of the case, you know what I mean? And so I realized he's not speaking life into himself, and it was hard. I told him, look at yourself in the mirror and say I'm a king, and he wouldn't say it. And we sat in the bathroom for like 15 minutes. I said, we're not leaving this bathroom until you look in the mirror and you say I am a king. And he wouldn't say it. And I realized, I'm like, you know what? I started talking about how good of a designer he is. He draws really well. He draws anime on his phone. He like builds Legos in like a day. And I'm talking about them big Legos. He builds it in a day. And it's like, you have so many skills that are just like natural to you. Nobody can do it the way you do. And imagine if you just continue to practice and practice. And what if I put you in some courses to learn even more and get in a community where that's what they do? He got excited and he's like, I'll say it. And he looked in the mirror and he said, I'm a king. Shoulders down. The body didn't portray what he was saying, but I said, when you brush your teeth, do me a favor, just look in the mirror and just repeat that to yourself every day. I am a king. I am a king. Just remember of all the skills and all the good things that naturally come, the things that you're gifted at, and just remind yourself that you're a king. Eventually, guys, with time, with faith, with practice, getting out of your comfort zone and doing things and just knowing that at first you're going to not fail because it's a lesson, but you're not going to be perfect the first shot. Just think of a baby when they're walking. They fall, but they don't give up until, I know it's very cliche, but really be intentional about the thought of that baby getting up and not giving up until he started walking. It's the same thing. Just think of it that way. But it rolls back to intention, guys. Let's all be intentional about how we live our lives. Let's be intentional about how present we are. Let's give some time for social media because, it's balance. Let's not spend all day mindlessly scrolling. If I say, in the morning, I wake up and it's as close as we are to our unconscious mind. Don't saturate that unconscious mind with media. Emails, news, social media, phone calls, text. Utilize your phone for meditation music, for frequencies, for binaural beats, for prayer, for meditation, for anything other than what you're already used to. And at first, it's going to take some while because it's automatic. You automatically already do it. So just practice on those habits. The cue, I'm reading this book, The Power of Habit, and it's so true. Our cue is you wake up, you look at the time, you set off your alarm. And our routine is go ahead and scroll. What happened? And then essentially we get, that high or that dopamine or that feel-good hormone. Let's replace that routine by getting up and throwing ourselves in a cold shower. I know a lot of us don't want to do it, but there's so much science behind that. I encourage you to look into it. And as much as I look into it, I will also, let you know what I know and give you resources of things that have helped me and YouTube links and things that I use that let's elevate. I'm partnering with a very close friend of mine. He was actually my first friend in high school. And it's so funny how God always has a way of keeping you connected. He started a podcast. It's called The Premeditated Elevation. And it's 2 seasons so far. But when he started this, it was just, I supported. But eventually, everything that he was saying, it's like, wow, I'm really learning from this. And that was one of the podcasts that helped me. So I love to use this word now. Let's premeditate our elevation. Let's premeditate our elevation. Let's plan. Let's be intentional. Let's buy a planner. Let's use it. Let's not just write for a few days, a few weeks, and then throw it. And then let's be intentional. Let's focus. Let's not be distracted. I feel like this is going to be a series of the same conversation, a few videos of the same conversation, because it's so important and there's so many avenues to go with this. But I have to get ready for work. So I encourage you to be intentional today.